What is wrong, Sean?
Why do you look depresso espresso?
Oh, hey you two. I was just thinking about how Mario Party, a video game series I loved so much as a kid, isn't as good as it used to be.
Fam, I beg you, please touch grass.
For real?
You know, it's much like this bologna sandwich here. This was so delicious the day before, but now, it's definitely not as good. And yet, I just keep coming back to it. I guess the taste of bologna reminds me of simpler times. It's just so nostalgic.
Sean, you left it on your desk, completely unrefrigerated. It's been here for like 2 weeks now.
Ah, that would explain why I can now hear colors.
We need to get you to the ER. I'm going to call an ambulance. I need a new job.
For real, no cap.
Ah, long-running video game franchises. Everyone has a favorite, and everyone has a favorite game in their favorite franchise. But I think we can all agree that not everything is always perfect. It's inevitable that eventually every franchise has a low point, a period where the games coming out just aren't meeting the fanbase's standards. Naturally, the Super Mario franchise is not immune to this and has seen its fair share of not-so-great entries, particularly Mario Party. In the last video, I elaborated about how much I love the GameCube era of Mario Party and how I consider it to be the series' golden era. Some disagree with that notion and see the N64 titles as the gold standard. While that's a perspective I personally disagree with, I don't see it as an invalid opinion either. Both eras have their strengths and weaknesses. However, I think we can all collectively agree that everything past Mario Party 7 is probably where the series started to fall off. Mario Party 8, 9, and 10, in my opinion, is where the series gets a little messy and enters what I consider to be the series' dark era. But hey, maybe things have changed since then. Maybe this era isn't as weak as I remember. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's jump headfirst down this rabbit hole and see how depraved things get, starting with Mario Party 8 on the Wii. So, one major complaint I've heard about this party game on the Wii is that some hate the motion controls associated with this one, saying that it's forced and unnecessary. But to that I say, it's a party game. On the Wii, on a console known for this, and this, it should be no surprise that we ended up with this. Motion controls were simply inevitable. As such, everything, and I mean absolutely everything, is controlled via motion. You point, you shoot, you swing, you shake, you tilt, and tumble. It's everything that embodies what some know as waggle games. Just look at this. Is this supposed to look like the result of cutting-edge technology to you? I didn't think so. They're simple and silly and are without a doubt the core focus of this entry. In my opinion, they embody the Wii Party experience perfectly since they focus on simple inputs. Shake It Up, as previously shown, is pretty much a button mashing minigame in spirit as you try to shake your Wiimote as fast as you can within a time limit. There are a good number of these waggle games which may be a turnoff to some, but you know me. I love mindless mashing games and this is no exception. But no need to worry, you're not just waggling your way to victory. Pointer games help break up that monotony and ask a bit more of you. Speedy Graffiti is the best example of this, as it really puts your accuracy to the test as you try to trace shapes as fast as you can. I really like this one. It's simple but hectic and requires a bit of skill. And then there are minigames that mimic what's happening on screen, like Flip the Chimp, where you hold the Wiimote vertically and turn the chimp to avoid obstacles. I think games like these really illustrate the casual nature of this entry. It makes it really easy for anyone to pick up and play. The only types of minigames I don't really like are, ironically, the button control games where you hold the Wiimote on its side. These feel a bit unintuitive, especially the platforming games. Moving around a 3D space with a D-pad should be illegal. Overall though, these games are super accessible and are easy enough for anyone to enjoy. Some may take issue with them, and I understand if you do, but this is perfect for the hardware it's on. Accessibility is the game's biggest strength, and if it brings families together, I can't fault it for that. What I can fault it for though is the graphics. My god, everything is so pixelated and rough looking. The color usage is all over the place as the colorful saturated Mario characters clash with the brown and beige looking environments. It's like the art director couldn't decide on what style they were trying to go for. But wait, then there's the inconsistent aspect ratio. The menu is presented in widescreen, but the gameplay is locked to 4:3 and with ugly borders to boot that you can't turn off. Why? Even the frame rate is horrible. It stutters and drops so often from the most basic visual elements. This is doubly so when the fancy new particle and fire effects from the items kick in. Why am I experiencing performance issues in a Mario Party game? Mario Party 8 is one of the ugliest first-party Wii games I've seen. This is not acceptable, even for the Wii. I theorize that this is because Hudson Soft really wanted to take Mario Party in a new visual direction for a new console and utilize more advanced techniques. It might be why this game tries to go for sort of a faux HD look. I mean, they even go for elements like depth of field, and there are so many extra particle effects. It feels like they were really trying to push for a graphical upgrade here, but it just doesn't work. It's a visual train wreck. Just look at Mario Party in the GameCube. Look how clean 7 looked. Everything is so rich and colorful, and this was on the previous console. I can respect the ambition, but they clearly did not have the time or the resources available to achieve what they were going for. As for the gameplay, it fails to add anything new to the actual party mode. There's no real gimmick added here, no night and day system like in 6, and no Bowser time like in 7. This Mario Party is as basic as it gets.
This is the future of gaming, motion control. Like I said, the future of gaming, it's ultra responsive. When you swing up, that's when he jumps. Not a second after, but like when you do it.
Even the last 5 tournament has to host Ballyhoo, give the losing player an item, and spreads coins everywhere. The only real new addition to the boards is the lucky space, where if you land on it, your character gets sent to an area with tons of coins and a star at the end. Even the boards are just kinda whatever. Most of them have a super basic layout. Goomba's Booty Boardwalk is one of the worst offenders. It is literally just a straight line with a straight shot to the star, and it never changes position. It's a slog to get up there, and if that weren't dull enough, there are happening spaces that, if stepped on, blast you all the way back to the start. Shy Guy's Perplex Express repeats this format. It's just a single file line, but with 2 levels this time. The star is located in the front of the train, it never changes positions, and there are happening spaces that take you off course from reaching the star. They did the same board gimmick twice. King Boo's Haunted Hideaway attempts to shake things up a bit, as it's the only board that shifts its pathways upon getting the star. It sounds interesting, but the board layout is a rigid grid, and the star location is not only randomized, but hidden! The goal of this board is to find King Boo hidden in one of the rooms, but if you are unlucky enough to encounter a dead end, guess what? You're sent back to the start! What is with this game and having such punishing mechanics? Bowser's Warped Orbit is the only board that seems to try something unique. The gimmick of this one is that players must steal stars from each other with the Bullet Bill and Bowser Suit candy. I guess this is a good segue to explain the candy system. Candy are Mario Party 8's version of items, and they're, alright. They're serviceable. Red candies revolve around dice blocks, either giving you additional rolls or slowing the roll down. Green and yellow candies are transformation based, the difference being that one affects your character before you roll, and the other affects your character as they move. The vast majority of these involve stealing a bunch of coins at once, such as the vampire candy that allows you to steal tons of coins from anywhere on the board, which is kind of lame and too one-note for my liking. But this category can also have passive effects, like spawning coin blocks as you move, or stealing candy from passing by a rival. The bit-sized candy is a personal favorite of mine for the transformation alone. There's the Duelo candy, which burns your character alive and allows you to challenge other players to a duel minigame. Thwomp candy, which allows you to steal half of your rival's coins if you pass them. And of course, there are the aforementioned Bullet Bill and Bowser candies, which steal stars. Although these only appear in Bowser's Warped Orbit and are unfortunately the only way to steal stars in this game. For the record, this is why you may have noticed that there are no boost spaces in the game. They've basically been clunkily shoved into the candy system, and not for the better. They are just too easy to abuse and end up making the game feel like an item span competition. Additionally, the ability to place items on spaces for different effects is removed, which is a shame because I felt as if it brought a lot of depth and variety to the boards, as it essentially allows you to customize the board to your liking. The pool of effects here just isn't compelling. It mostly just boils down to stealing coins, gaining coins, and bigger dice rolls under the gimmick of a fancy transformation. I'll take orbs over these any day. But anyway, getting back to Bowser's Warped Orbit, the gimmick of this one is actually pretty fun. It's basically a game of cat and mouse as you try to catch your rivals off guard with the Bullet Bill or Bowser Suit. Various spaces can reverse the direction of the board, which can easily turn your situation around if someone is about to close in on you. It's a really interesting push and pull that makes great use of the candy system, even if it does fall under my item span complaint. I almost wish every board was like this, but as it stands, I can't say I really enjoy any of these boards nearly as much as the older ones. Design-wise, they're all inferior, some of them are literally just a straight line, and they are far too RNG dependent. The story mode also manages to fall flat, if you could even call it that. The host of the Star Carnival, Ballyhoo, and his partner Big Top are holding a competition to determine the superstar. The winner of the contest will receive the title of Superstar and a full year's supply of candy. This sends you on yet another competition-style journey where you must play each board and achieve first place against a single computer. Once again, the campaign only has you playing duel minigames and utilizes none of the Battle Royale, 1v3, or 2v2 games, much to my immense disappointment. You know, for a series that prides itself on adding dozens of brand new minigames on the back of the box, there seems to be a lot of entries that only have you play a quarter of the games offered. Sometimes it truly feels like only Mario Party 3 understood how to make a compelling single-player experience. It featured the most minigames, it had fully featured boards, and you even had an additional duel mode to go through after the fact. It was a bit too long and slow to progress, and the consequence of losing a board was far too punishing. But I really wish that, unless the series went back to the open format of Mario Party 6, that I would take notes from 3 and expand upon what made its single-player campaign great. Mario Party 8 does neither of these things, and instead doubles down on the Mario Party 7 style of campaign, except this time, it's just plain boring. You go through board after board trying to beat each computer at this duel, playing the same duel minigames over and over when you land in versus space, playing the same handful of single-player minigames multiple times, dealing with the same monotonous board gimmicks. It's just so boring. It's not even that hard, as I cleared most boards on their first try. The only exception was Boo's Haunted Bash because the RNG in that board is so ludicrously unfair. It's the very definition of going through the motions. This wasn't a campaign designed with any thought or care. It was created out of obligation, and to be honest, if campaigns are going to be treated this way, I'd rather them not even bother to make one to begin with. At this point, it's just insulting. After you win the final board, you receive the Star Rod with your newly claimed title. To nobody's surprise, of course, Bowser comes and steals the Star Rod, forcing you to compete against his minions in Bowser's warped orbit in a final battle. Once you beat them, he challenges you to a final battle in space, with horrendously broken motion controls. The game seriously wants you to wave the Wiimote back and forth, shake it to charge up your Star Rod, attack, and fling it at Bowser all while dodging his attacks. That is 3 separate and simultaneous motions on a controller that accepts candlelight as a sensor input. That's a real fact, look it up. Just look at the footage here. You can see me struggling to get any sort of motion to work. I'm swinging, I'm swaying, waggling in any direction to try to get myself to move, and I just can't do it. I try following the directions, I try doing it my own way, I reposition the sensor bar multiple times. The game is just simply broken. It doesn't work. And I think the devs knew this very well, as the game gives you very generous checkpoints and no way to get a game over. As long as you manage to clear each phase of the fight, there's seriously no way to lose. You could even come back with a full health bar. Oh well, I guess I should count my blessings. After the hell I went through with Mario Party 7's final battle, at least this finale was easily beatable. So we beat Bowser, take back the Star Rod, everyone celebrates, and the credits roll. I'm really struggling to find the words to talk about this campaign. I've been stuck writing this part of the review for a better part of a month because I honestly have no inspiration, nothing of interest to really say. I can't praise it to high heavens like I did with 6, and I can't have fun with rage moments like I did with 7. It's seriously the most monotone and low-effort single-player campaign in the series yet. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And in a way, that's honestly worse. Oh well, at least I could shoot the credits, I guess. Boy, I really slammed this game much more than I expected to. It's funny, I really remember liking it as much as the GameCube entries back in the day. But I guess my standards have changed. I really didn't say anything positive here, did I? Well, I do have one thing I can mention. If I may get a bit real here for a sec, this game helped me through one of the toughest times in my life. This game came out in 2007, right around the time the economic recession kicked in, which is an event that devastated my family. My dad was laid off at his job and struggled to find another one for almost 2 years because the job market was in shambles. We lost almost everything. Our house, our cars, our savings were completely gutted. It was just an absolute mess. But here's a good thing that came out of it. It got my parents into gaming. Thanks to the Wii and its casual approach to gaming through motion controls, it allowed my parents to pick up a controller and instantly know what to do. There were no complicated button combinations, you just swing the Wiimote and your character reflects the movement. During the times where we couldn't afford to go out and do our favorite things, such as go to baseball games or visit big cities, We played Wii Sports Baseball and shopped at Gracie Grace, living vicariously through the virtual world of the Wii. Animal Crossing City Folk was by far the most popular game in the house, but we also played games like Mario Kart Wii and yes, Mario Party 8. These two games specifically were series that I would have never shown my parents previously, but the Wii and its motion controls opened them up to the world of gaming and allowed them to not just watch but play with me. And even though times were hard and my family was immensely stressed, it also brought us closer together, and that in part is thanks to the Wii and Mario Party 8. So yeah, objectively, this entry is absolutely lacking and is subpar compared to what came before, but I'd be lying if I said I hated it. It gave my family and I hope and happiness when we needed it most, and that's why, as flawed as it is, Mario Party 8 will always hold a special place in my heart. You may call it bias, but if a game makes you feel this way, it's obviously doing something right. It's not the game I necessarily wanted, but it's the game I needed. And thus ends the era of Hudson Soft. This is the last Mario Party title to be developed by them. After this, they were acquired by Konami, and development duties of the series went to NDCube from then onward. And you know what? Even though you could tell this entry was running on creative fumes, at the end of the day, it's still fun, and honestly, sometimes that's all you need. But now, for better or worse, we move into the era of NDCube.
What's up, home slice?
How you like our new drip? We low-key vibing.
Minnie, are you even old enough to drive?
Oof, this is so chuggy.
What?
No cap fam, these skits ain't buzzin'.
Terry, do you understand anything she's saying?
Not really, I just pretend to, and buy her Fortnite skins whenever she makes fun of me.
Wow, that seems a bit, wait. With what money?
Sorry fam, gotta run skibbity.
What a massive L.
Ugh. God damn it. Well, that cleaned out the rest of my gaming budget for the month. I guess I'll stick to retro games for now. Well, at least that's a good cue to move on to the next game on our agenda. Mario Party 9. So after Mario Party 8 came and went, I assumed that Nintendo wanted to get the series back to its former annual release schedule, and I eagerly awaited the announcement of a new entry the year after. That, of course, as I would come to find, did not happen, and I feared that the series had finally lost steam and was shelved. It wouldn't be until E3 2011, very late into the Wii's life, that we would finally see the franchise come back up for air. The trailer featured new minigames, new boards, and this new gameplay mode where every character moves on the board together in a vehicle. Lots of focus went into this new side mode as it was the only board gameplay we saw. And then, in 2012, I got my hands on the game, and to my utter surprise, this was not a side mode, this is the party mode. Huh. Alright, no need to play dumb anymore, let's get this out of the way. Mario Party 9 is a very different game than everything that has come before it. The entire old rule set from Mario Party 1 through 8 has been completely thrown out the window, and in its place, we have this new, let's call it the vehicle format. Players no longer move independently across the board. Everyone moves at the same time, rolling a 6-sided die in a single file line to the end. The player whose turn is it is called the captain, and is in charge of moving the vehicle to the end in a car, boat, hovercraft, or whatever thematically fits into the board's theme, reaping whatever benefit they happen to run into. Yes, at first glance, it might appear like this is a team-based style of gameplay, but I assure you, it's very much a battle royale. There are no stars in the traditional sense. The objective this time is to collect mini stars, these white cereal marshmallow looking things that pretty much act as coins. Whoever has the most mini stars by the end of the game wins. Mini stars can be gathered by running into them while moving across the board, participating in board events, participating in new captain events that benefit the player whose turn it is, and of course, by playing minigames. Minigames no longer occur after every turn and are instead reserved for when you land on a versus space. Originally, I felt like this made minigames a little too infrequent, but upon revisiting them, I actually felt like this was a misconception on my part due to my bias towards the old formula. As for the items, they're still here but are extremely simplified and are limited to bland, boring dice blocks that limit your roll to a certain number range, slow your roll, limit your roll to 0 or 1, or give you a straight up 10-sided dice block, now being depicted as a D10, which is kind of cute, I must admit. As you may guess, the core way to win this game is by using the dice blocks to your advantage. If you need to desperately get somewhere fast, you roll your 4, 5, 6 block to ensure a high roll. If you want to avoid a hazard, Bowser space, or obstacle, you roll a 0 to 1 block and screw over the player after you. And if you straight up want to cheat, you roll a slow block and ensure that you get that sweet, sweet 6 to take all of those mini stars in front of you. All of these changes are in service to streamline the gameplay experience and keep the game moving at a lightning quick pace. However, this comes at the cost of strategy. There is a lot less room to plot and scheme against your rivals when you're all packed together in a car taking turns. There is no alternate path to take, no way to set up traps or call Boo to steal things, no way to directly steal anyone's mini stars. You are at the mercy of the dice block and the game's RNG. And while this could be seen as a major step back in the series, well, how do I put this? I don't hate the vehicle format. Now hold on. I can explain. Do not misunderstand me. I am in no way saying this new gameplay format is superior to what came before. It isn't. It severely limits your strategy, subjects you to RNG beyond your control, and lacks the gameplay variety of the old boards. But at the same time, it exponentially speeds up the gameplay, keeps everything easy to understand, and cuts a lot of the fat that the older games were criticized for. Fans of the series will try to gaslight you into thinking the old format was perfect and flawless, but let me tell you, as a veteran fan of the series since close to its inception, Mario Party has gotten so much criticism over the years for being slow, having unfair board events happen, complaints that the minigames got less and less interesting, and above all else, how it all started to become stale. As early as Mario Party 5, I was hearing how the series peaked on the N64 and how it was the same damn game every year, just with new minigames and new boards. These are, without a doubt, the complaints that NDCube was hearing loud and clear. They saw the declining sales of the series and upon taking over, decided that they needed to go in a new direction and breathe new life into it. I am not saying that they were absolutely right with the direction they took. I am saying that they were absolutely justified. To act like they changed everything simply because they felt like it and weren't listening to fan feedback is disingenuous and a revisionist history at best. I give them kudos for trying something new. At the end of it all, this format is still fun to play, and it has its own merits. But as I said, it's nowhere near perfect. As it's more luck-based, there's no real way to control what's happening at any given moment. You could be a master of strategy, use dice blocks at the best logical time, win every minigame, and still get screwed over because you weren't at the right place at the right time. Compounding this are things like backspaces, which send everyone back how many spaces they roll, forward spaces, which does the opposite, and shuffle spaces that reshuffle the turn order and throw any possible strategy you had brewing right out the window. Not once did I ever feel in control of anything that was going on at any given time while playing this. Apart from my turn, I barely paid attention to anything that was happening because there was no way to stop anything or prevent whatever shenanigans the computers wanted to do. More than ever, I felt like everything was luck-based and my only say in the matter was winning the minigames. Speaking of minigames, they're alright this time. Fun, I even dare say. Off the top of my head, I enjoyed Skyjinx, which was a fun platforming minigame. Tuber Tug, which rewards good rhythm with your button mashing, and you know how much I love button mashing minigames. And Peak Precision, which asks you to press a random assortment of buttons as fast as you can. Overall, the minigames are all very consistent in quality, and there's no game I really disliked. It's a very solid experience. Heck, the game even adds boss battles into the mix, which appear halfway through and at the end of each board. Aside from the standard minigames, I would consider these to be the strongest games in the collection. You may be chucking shells at a giant Cheep Cheep, ground pounding spots on Wiggler's back, or scrambling to find cars to attack dry bones with. So there's a lot of variety here, and they're all a ton of fun. With the exception of Bowser Jr.'s Breakdown, which relies entirely on dice roll RNG, and it's just a fucking slog to get through. Oh, and in Chain Chomp Romp, a boss minigame where you're supposed to find the gold cannon to get a 3-point hit, can rob you of said 3 points if his health is too low and you were the last in line to go. What kind of shit was this, by the way? I got the gold cannon, I absolutely would have had the most points at the end, but nope, because I went last, something that's completely out of my control, it didn't count. Fuck off, that is legitimately unfair. The worst part of the game though is the captain system. As I said, the captain is whoever's turn it is currently. If you are the captain, you're subject to getting bonuses, such as being able to control captain events, board-specific events that can net you a nice mini-star bonus. You can also gain bonus points in minigames and boss battles, even if you perform the worst out of the group. These are not only completely RNG, but they break the pace of the game and bring it to a screeching halt. The captain system in general is really stupid. It is completely out of your control. And while I'm on the topic of negatives, the boards suffer quite a bit in this entry. Because board gimmicks have largely been removed, every board kind of ends up feeling the same, a straight line to the end with a minimal variation. To be fair, happening spaces and board events attempt to keep things interesting. For example, in the Bomb-Bomb Factory, halfway through the board, bomb-bombs will land in front of your vehicle and explode after a certain number of turns. Whoever is the captain when the bomb goes off will lose half their mini-stars. Okay, that's cute, but let's look at some other boards. In Boo's Horror Castle, Boo will give chase to the party. If he catches them, the captain will lose half their mini-stars. In Magma Mine, there's a section where the party is chased by rising lava. If it catches up to them, the captain loses half their mini-stars. Do you see the problem here? There's really not much that separates these boards apart from one another. The setting is different, the events are different, but you're doing the same kind of thing beat for beat each board. By the way, some of the events can be outright broken in some cases. My party could not stop getting caught by this magma no matter how hard we tried. Every turn we rolled, we failed to escape the threshold and got burned again, and again, and again. There's no balance here, nothing anyone can really do to get out of this except just get lucky. And that's just really poor design. Second reason why these boards suffer? This game came out around the time the Mario mandates took effect. This is a bit of a broad topic that I don't want to spend too much time on, but essentially, around 2009, Nintendo decided to make the Mario brand more cohesive. Following the global success of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, they decided to use it as a template and make future games adhere to its aesthetic to strengthen brand recognition. For example, look at Super Mario Sunshine, where enemy proportions are all over the place, level design is off the wall, and the general tone and feel is otherworldish. Now, look at Super Mario 3D World, which aesthetically looks a lot more homogeneous in comparison. Goombas look like Goombas, question blocks and brick blocks all look the same, everything is consistent and easily identifiable. Personally, I have no horse in this race because, quite honestly, I think the mandates have both helped and hindered the series in different ways. Homogenization is not a bad thing if used as a simple baseline. In this case, however, the new Super Mario Bros. Influence is clearly evident in the game's board design. You're not going to see anything too far outside the box here, so it just leaves the boards feeling bland and uninspired. However, I can absolutely praise the visuals on its own though. Whereas Mario Party 8 was a garbled visual nightmare, 9 is crisp, colorful, the art direction is charming, and it all runs at a buttery smooth 60 frames per second. Sure, it could look generic, but I would trade this for whatever the hell Mario Party 8 was going for any day. Well, all that's left to talk about here is the story mode. And honestly, I'm happy to report that this story mode is actually pretty good. This time, Bowser is stealing all the mini stars in the sky, and Mario and Co need to stop him. He sends his minions out to stop you, and it's your job to outsmart them, give them the boot in each board, and save the day. That's it. Thematically, this is not as deep as 5 or 6, but hey, at least it's an actual plot. That's more than I can say about 8. And much to my surprise, the real boon here is that you finally get to play through a full party mode in every board with every minigame available. Hallelujah! They finally did it! They created a single-player campaign that actually utilizes each category of minigames well. See? Was that so hard? That's all I really wanted at the end of the day, and to its credit, Mario Party 9 delivers. The actual party mode is flawed due to the RNG, but the story mode succeeds in showcasing what this game is about, why it's fun, and why you should play it. I really have no complaints here. The boss battles are the thread that ties everything together, serving as fantastic story beats in the solo campaign, and are also well utilized in the multiplayer party mode as individual minigames. The dividing line between single-player and multiplayer content has been completely removed here. It makes the single-player and multiplayer modes equally important. And this is something even my favorite entries in the series failed to do. So you know what? Mario Party 9, I dare say, is a fine entry into the series. Don't get me wrong, it has its problems, absolutely, and I will always prefer the individual board gameplay rather than the vehicles because you have so much more control, a lot more room for strategy, and much less dumb RNG to deal with. But for what it is, as an attempt to revitalize the series and bring us something new, NDCube succeeded in this regard and delivered a gameplay experience with a solid foundation. Considering this is such a humongous shift in format, there are far worse results that could have been achieved. Wow, you know, I did not expect to have this many nice things to say about Mario Party 9 going back into it. It's much better than I remember it being. You know, that's kind of the beauty of this whole Grand Series revisit I've been doing, huh? Sometimes, you'll never know what you'll uncover going back to these old games. Sometimes, you'll just find something that you might just appreciate about it.
So, does that mean you're going to give Mario Party 10 a fair shake?
Oh, well, I never said that.
It might hit different this time, but
No, guys, you don't understand. I really think this one might actually be bad.
what a basic opinion. Big yikes, this is giving major NPC vibes.
Agreed. That's quite the judgmental opinion for someone who keeps referencing the Wikipedia page of Gen Z lingo to write Minnie's lines.
Okay, fine, I'll play the damn game. Just go away, go play Minecraft or something.
Okay, boomer.
Peace out, bruh.
Well, here's Mario Party 10, I guess. Ah, geez, here we go. I'd say this is the appropriate time to break out the alcohol, but I already used the drunk reviewer trope in the last video, so I guess I'm on my own here. Upon opening the game, you're greeted by this corporate minimalist-ass menu with 3 options: Mario Party, Bowser Party, and the digital manifestation of cancer. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a minute. Did you notice there's no opening video or animation? That's because there's no story mode this time around. First impressions are everything, and while I admit I'm coming into this game with a heavily negative opinion, the lack of a story mode, or heck, a story in general, does not bode well in showing the amount of effort they put into this. Seriously, where's the whimsy? Where's the fun? I feel like I'm looking at a menu designed by shareholders, not actual game designers. To jump ahead a bit, this extends throughout the entire UI of the game, even the minigame explanations. There's no longer a paragraph of text to clearly explain the rules, just a small, slowly scrolling text blurb that's annoying to read, accompanied by a pre-rendered video showing the minigame off. It looks clean, sure, but clean is the last thing I think of when I'm asked to describe Mario Party. Anyway, let's get into the first mode, Mario Party mode. There's really not much to explain here. This mode is the exact same format for Mario Party 9, just copy-pasted. Virtually nothing has been added to expand the core mode from the previous game. It's as luck-based and dice control as Mario Party 9 with no improvements or changes. The only thing even remotely new here is that the IRS finally caught up to Bowser and imprisoned him on the Wii U gamepad. If you roll the dice numbers on each of his bars, he'll be freed and will take half the mini stars from the person who is unlucky enough to break the last lock, as well as add Bowser spaces to the board. Now that I think about it, that's kind of similar to Bowser Time from Mario Party 7, but even more boring. I really got nothing to say about this mode. It's not giving me a ton to work with here. The boards? There's only 5 of them this time, and any semblance of creativity that went to the previous game is non-existent here. You get a grass, haunted mansion, underwater, airship, and a lava board. I mean, seriously? Forget what I said about 9 being New Super Mario Bros. Influence. This is an entirely new level of lazy. There's no unlockable board or anything to spice things up. It's as generic as it gets. While I don't think Mario Party 9's boards were as creative as they should have been, at least they had some unique ideas in them, and we even got some love for Donkey Kong Country. But here, the only board that really interests me is Airship Central, because it's the only one that feels visually distinct, and it's the only truly new theme here. Once again, the only thing that separates the boards from one another are the events that happen in them. Mechanically though, they're all identical, a straight line to the end. I really don't get it. 9 has such a strong foundation that could have been built upon. There was potential here, but instead of building up, it felt like they downsized and simplified everything even further. The minigames? They're fine, I guess. There's nothing wrong with them. You might think that this is the part where I list specific games that I enjoyed, but I just don't care. At all. Because they're attached to the lamest party mode in the series by far, I really find it hard to care about them, which is a shame. In my opinion, what makes Mario Party tick is that boards and minigames go hand in hand with each other. You can't have one without the other. Minigames are the most active and exciting thing you do in the game, and it's what people talk about more. But without quality boards to back them up and give them context, they just fall flat. And because Mario Party 10 relies so heavily on dice RNG, it gives the minigames very little meaning. If what I'm doing doesn't contribute much to my victory, why should I care? I realize this is just as big of a problem in 9, but the thing with 9 is that it was the first attempt at an entirely new gameplay format under a completely new development team. Making something completely new in a long-running game series is a daunting task, and mistakes will inevitably be made. So for 9, I'm more forgiving. But this is NDCube's second attempt, and being that this game had almost a 3-year development cycle, there's no excuse to not improve upon the formula they've established. Especially considering the majority of fans want them to go back to the old format. If you're gonna double down on something, you need to provide a good reason as to why you're doing so. To make virtually no changes is simply inexcusable. So what the hell were they even doing given they had exponentially more time to perfect what they had? Well, I do have an answer for that. Bowser Party. It's on the cover of the box. It was at the forefront of the game's marketing. It's clear that this was the focus of the century and where all the budget went. And to give credit where credit is due, this concept is actually really damn cool. The premise of Bowser Party is that one player takes control of Bowser using the Wii U gamepad and gives chase to the other players in the car. If they catch up with them, a Bowser minigame initiates where the gamepad player manipulates various traps, obstacles, enemies, or whatever Bowser has up his sleeve using the touchscreen and gyro controls of the controller. If the players lose a minigame, they lose a heart. If they lose all their hearts, Bowser wins. These are basically Bowser minigames on steroids. Unfortunately, this is not a story mode replacement. It doesn't add much in regards to single player. The game certainly allows you to play alone, but if you're trying to play as Bowser against computers, you'll spend so much time waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and waiting for every single computer to go, experience board events, play standard minigames, and progress the board. This is definitely an experience that is best fit for actual multiplayer. The only time you get to play Bowser minigames is when you manage to catch up to the other players. So unless you get lucky with Bowser's dice rolls, you'll spend the entire game attempting to catch up with them, and that just isn't fun. In my first attempt on stream, I only got a handful of minigames because my dice rolls just kept lowballing me. Why can't minigames occur after every turn? Why are they only limited to specific scenarios? Aren't minigames the core selling point of the series? So why make them so infrequent and up to chance? It's just a bad design choice. On the boards, you'll maybe have 1 or 2 instances where you can set traps in an attempt to whittle down the party's health, and while cool, these are few and far in between. Other than that, you'll literally just be sitting there, contemplating your life choices and wondering when you'll be able to go next. The mode is pretty undercooked so far, but surely it's because all the effort went into the minigames, right? They designed the entire mode around it, so they must have thought of a lot of creative concepts here. So what did we get? 10 minigames! Are you serious? NDCube, you created this entire fucking mode, marketed the entire game around it, and the best you could do is 10 minigames? Some of them aren't even that creative with the gamepad! I mean, I guess there are some that try to make the most of this gimmick. Bowser's Firebar Fury perfectly mimics the feeling the minigame is going for. You tilt the gamepad, and Bowser tilts the platform with the firebars. It feels great and natural to do. And Bowser's Bad Breath presents your camera angle from Bowser's POV and utilizes the mic to blow fireballs, which is really cool. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the rest. The majority of the minigames just feel like a drag to play. Bowser's Bonus Bingo is so slow as you wait for the party to individually take their turn while all you do is just shake the gamepad to, roll dice and get bingo. And Bowser's Clawful Climb is just mashing the trigger buttons to catch up to the party. It's just such a brain-dead, uncreative use of the gimmick. God damn it, Mario Party 10. I can't believe you just got me to complain about a button-mashing minigame of all things. See, that's how you know it's bad. It'd be one thing if the minigames were super in-depth and creative, but they're just not. It took valuable development time away from the core party mode, and it feels like they should have had either one or the other, not both. As it is, nobody wins here. They had 3 whole years to make this concept work. What were they doing for that amount of time? For fuck's sake, Hudson Soft put out games back to back with entirely new gimmicks, mechanics, modes, and at least 70 new minigames bare minimum annually for 4 years straight. Mario Party 6 literally doubled its board count by having a day and night version of every single board. You can't tell me they couldn't make something better given they had at least double the development time. This is supposed to be the selling point of the entire game. What the fuck happened?
Sean, I need you to calm down. It's just a video game. It is not worth your anger.
You're right. I'm sorry, Terry. I need to direct my energy into saying something more constructive. I'll try to approach this with a more mature nuance.
Good on you, Home Slice. I'm proud of you.
I guess I'm just upset because I know Nintendo's capable of so much more. But, you know, NDCube tried their best. Here, I'll tell you what. Let's play another round. What board should we play?
Maybe one of the 2 boards you haven't played? There's only 3 boards to choose from.
You mean 5, right?
No broski. Just 3.
Nope, I'm staying calm. We're staying calm about this. That's really fucking stupid, but I'm already disappointed. There's no further reason to get upset about this.
Airship Central is not playable.
God fucking! That's it! I can't take it anymore! We're moving on! I wish Bowser Party could have been good, but oh fucking well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be! It's okay, I'm no stranger to disappointment. I was a Paper Mario fan in 2012! You can't hurt me any more than I've hurt myself! Okay... Jesus, what does that leave us with? Amiibo Party? Oh boy. So, first of all, if you don't have an amiibo that works with this game, this entire third of the main menu is completely inaccessible to you. No, that's great. That's really amazing. I love Dead Software in my Mario Party game. Granted, when this game came out, it came with a Bowser amiibo, so if you bought it new, technically this mode was unlocked from the start. But if you're one of those unfortunate degenerates who live in the year 2024 and haven't forked over the GDP of a small nation for these mass-produced plastic figures, you're sadly gonna be out of luck here. I can imagine a non-informed parent purchasing this game secondhand without knowing this mode even exists. This isn't very forward-thinking. Anyway, once we tap a little Mario statue here and wipe the Smash data off of it because having multiple save files for your figurines that cost $20 a pop makes too much sense, we're greeted with a new square-shaped Mario-themed board. So, do you want to know what this mode entails? Here are the rules. Stop me if you've heard this before. Everyone rolls a die, land on a space, and then you play a minigame depending on what space everyone lands on. Whoever wins a minigame gets 10 coins. Whoever gets the star first to 20 coins gets a star, and the person with the most coins and or stars at the end is crowned the winner. So, tell me guys, does that sound all familiar to you? Yep, they did it. Oh boy, did they ever do it. They ripped the old Mario Party formula wholesale and put it in a separate mode that you need to pay $12.99 to even access if you don't have the plastic piece of shit that the game came with. Just fucking look at this. I am seething. What was it that everybody, literally fucking everybody, was asking for? Either a full return to the old formula or have it available in a separate mode so that everyone is satisfied. Well, it seems like they went with option B, but in the worst way possible. These boards are as featureless as it gets. They're all a literal square with the same amount of spaces and no character animations, no board gimmicks, no distinct happening events, absolutely nothing that made this formula charming or fun to begin with. Sometimes character icons appear on the board which, if picked up, swap out a quarter of the board with the corresponding character you picked up. Woohoo? Why should I care? You're limited to only 10 turns, the only items you can get from the shop are mushrooms, you have to tap your amiibo to the gamepad every single fucking time you roll! Just why? This is a joke. It has to be. It simply has to be. There's no way that they looked at the old formula and thought this is what we loved about it. This mode feels like it was made out of pure spite. It feels like NDCube saw the negative criticism of the new gameplay format in Mario Party 9, but instead of listening, they doubled down on what they had for this game, didn't change a goddamn thing about it, and then put in the old formula in a technically paywalled, bare bones, absolute joke of a mode as a final middle finger to every fan who wanted the old gameplay back. I gave NDCube a chance with Mario Party 9, and I enjoyed what they made. Legitimately. I don't personally mind the returning format from 9, but it was far from perfect and it needed adjustments at the very least. But this feels like they purposefully went the extra mile to piss everyone off. It doesn't please fans of 9, it doesn't please fans of the old series, and the one thing it does add is undercooked and doesn't add nearly as much as it's marketed to. Out of all of the Mario Party games I've played for this review so far, this is the only one where I truly have nothing nice to say. The strained resources, the lack of budget, and the desperation to do literally anything with the gamepad gimmick is incredibly evident. There's no gleaming hope or nothing that I can point out as a saving grace. It's simply a bad video game and the absolute worst game in the series, bar none.
Sean, are you absolutely certain about that?
Yeah. Comparing this to the N64 era, the GameCube era, and even 9, it's not even close. So, why do you ask?
Oh no, it seems he has forgotten.
Oh dear.
Forgotten what? After this, the series actually kind of got back on track with Super Mario Party. There was nothing else released between them.
While that's true, you still have some unfinished business. Try to think back.
No.
This isn't your average everyday darkness. This is advanced darkness.
Hello there. Terry and Minnie reporting from the floor here. If you liked this video, feel free to subscribe.
We would totes appreciate the support. Thank you. #bless.